everyone. It's Mrs. Davis from Happy Place to Grow. I'm so glad you're here with me. You know, it's almost Christmas, but we never want to stop learning. And that's why I love doing activities that involve the holiday Christmas, but also stretch our learning, develop our brains, and help us to grow. So it's getting close to Christmas, and this activity that we're going to do today is going to involve Christmas and math. Yeah, math and Christmas. So I like to make learning fun, but yet we are learning. Today's activity is going to involve a tool called a geoboard. A geoboard is square and it has pegs, 5 rows of pegs, and in each row are 5 pegs. So 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in each row 5 pegs. And you can also look at it in a column form. There are 5 columns. Each column has 5 pegs in it. So that's going to help us as we are doing our designs and creating some Christmas items on this geoboard. Now, when you're using a geoboard, you have to have another fun thing called a rubber band. And you can stretch those rubber bands onto the geoboard. And learning to use the geoboard in a quick way will help us get our designs created very quickly and easily. Now, here's our goal today. We're using a geoboard. We're going to be creating and counting so we can get those designs on quicker. If you understand how the geoboard is set up, then putting those rubber bands on is going to be very quick. And this activity is going to develop in your mathematical brain the visual spatial, because you're going to be estimating and you're going to be thinking about where rubber bands are placed so you can quickly put them on and create. All right, if you don't have a geoboard at your house, you can go online. There's lots of, I'm sure, apps. I know for sure of one that's a really great one. It has a geoboard and it has virtual rubber bands, and you can just slide and create. So that's a fun way to do this. So if you don't actually have a geoboard, you can go online and grab one and scoop one up and do some creating that way too. I will link a geoboard app for you in the description box, or describe it so that you can go online and download it. All right, let's get started. Let me show you what we're going to be creating and designing, all Christmassy. We've got a present, a puppy. Who doesn't want a puppy for Christmas? Wait a minute, I don't. You might. A stocking, a Christmas tree, Santa's hat, and what do you think that is? Kind of looks like another present, but it's actually Santa Claus going down the chimney. We're going to be using our geoboard, some rubber bands, and then I'm going to show you how to draw a few on geo paper. This is another way that you can do this activity. You can create your own geoboard paper. I have one here that's a blank. That one that I just showed you was filled up. You can draw your geoboard paper by doing 5 rows of 5 dots. You can do that, or you can probably go online and get a copy of geoboard paper, and that way you can do this activity. You don't even have to use the geoboard if you don't have one, but you can be doing some creative drawing using the geo paper, and again, you're building your visual spatial while having fun creating. So what we're going to do is we're going to build each of these on the geoboard, and then I'll pick a few and just show you how you could draw those on the geoboard. And we're thinking about counting and how the Geoboard is set up to help us get things on quickly. All right, let's get started. Let's start with this present first. So I'm looking at my present and I'm seeing that one row is not used. So I'm going to be going down to row 2 to start this. And it looks like my first rubber band is going all the way across. So that's how I'm thinking about counting and writing. So I'm going to get a long rubber band, a bigger one. I'm skipping the top row and I'm going straight to the second row. Then it looks like I can go down all the way to the bottom to create this present. And I'm going to be doing a similar thing on the other side because they're equal. I'm just picking up rubber bands. Now, sometimes when you're using a Geoboard, a rubber band will snap and break. It's okay. Just grab another one. You need plenty of them for sure. And I've had these rubber bands a long time, so we might see a pop now and then. So there is the gift. And the bow would just be something you would, draw on when you're putting it on the Geo paper. You wouldn't be building that with rubber bands. But we are going to make a design inside. So it looks like we're going to be going in and we're making another column. So we're going to go in from this side and go to the second column, not all the way up. And we're going to make another straight line. And we're only covering 1, 2, 3, 4 pegs. And then I'm going to make an equal design on the other side. I'm trying to stick with all my red rubber bands. I've got several. There we go. But we're not finished with that present because now we're going to go, this is where the Geo could get a little tricky. You're not going straight down. You're going from peg number 1, 2 to peg 1, 2. So you have to think about your counting skills. So I'm going to be here and I'm going, I'm going 1, 2, here, here. See how that works on your visual? At first I thought I was starting here, going here. You could do that if you wanted. It would have a good design. But on that paper, it goes to the second peg to the second peg. It goes diagonal that way. I have some small rubber bands, a few. There we go. Right? So again, this is really challenging your visual spatial. It's making you think and count. I don't have any more. And there were 3 on this side. Now this one's going to be the same pattern, except I'm going to start 1, 2. I'm going in from the back. So I'm going on over here, and I'm going from here to here. So I have to look, and I have to see to make sure I'm getting the right design on too. Nope, I'm wrong. Visual spatial, got to work on it. That's correct. Second one. So this is a really good activity. It challenges you. It's not just cut and dry, easy breezy, lemon squeezy. There's our gift. Now when we put it on the Geo paper, we're going to be doing the same thing with our Geo paper. We'll do that in just a minute. We'll go ahead and add a couple designs. We won't do them all. Now I'm going to go to the puppy, which has a little bit of challenge to it too. So I'm going to carefully, here's where you have to kind of be careful. And sometimes when you're undoing the rubber bands, you get into a little situation where it might pop off quickly. That's where you might get a snap of a rubber band. Geoboards are really fun, and you can definitely be creative and work on those math skills. Okay, puppy. We're starting at the top row. I can see, but we're not starting with peg 1. We're going to peg 2, and we're going to be covering peg 1, 2, and 3, number 1 and number 5. So 2, 3, and 4 are covered. 1 and 5 are not covered. So that's going to take a medium rubber band. And I'm starting at the top. Again, I'm thinking about that visual spatial. And then I'm going to peg 1, and I'm going to be going out to the very first row here, first column, second peg. And I'm going to cover second and third peg eventually. So I'm going to go from there to there, second peg, and then I'm going to go down. This is where these little tiny rubber bands really come in handy. Oops, got a piece of a rubber band there. And then I'm going to be going back up. It looks like I'm going to go right here to this peg. So let me try that. Again, if I'm working on this activity and I don't get it quite exactly right, then I can always undo my rubber bands like I did in this first one. Or I could create my own dog ear. It doesn't have to match that one. Now it looks like I'm going to start from here, and to complete his little face, I'm going to be going on peg 1, 2, 3. I'm going 3 down. That's where the counting comes in. So I'm starting here and I'm going 1, 2, 3. I'm not going all the way to the bottom on this one. Oh, that one's very tiny. That one won't stretch. Let's see if I can get this one to stretch. Look, he's very thick. Let's see. Oh, here's a little one. I like the little ones for the little spaces. 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to be going 1, 2, 3 across the bottom. That's a pattern I can count on for this puppy. Yep, we got a snapper there. Sometimes they do snap. If you run out of small ones, or you don't have small ones, you can just put the big ones on, which I did. And then I'm going up 1, 2, 3. Again, let me see if I can find a little smidge of a 1. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm almost finished. I've got to make this ear. It's going to go from here to here. It's going from this peg to this peg because we're going to be doing this puppy ear. We're going down with the pattern, puppy ear, and then we're going to go. It looks like we have to go back up 1 peg. This is where these little small ones come in handy. I think this one might work. Yes. And then finally, we're going back up to complete the puppy. Now, the fun part of this would be, it doesn't so much look like a puppy on the Geoboard. You have to kind of use your imagination. But when you add your little details, where my students would go to the center and then they would add the little face, they might even color it in, and they would do this activity where we had to count how many rubber bands. So again, it involves creating and it involves counting. So that's always fun. We're going to remove the rubber bands carefully. We don't want to lose any more. I need all those little ones. Then sometimes they pop up and fly, which that one just did, and they're flying all over. Okay, let's go to Christmas symbol or Christmas thing number 3. It looks like a stocking, and the stockings were hung. Now on this one, I'm going to be on the top row, but I'm skipping peg 1, 2, and I'm going to be on peg 3, 4, 5. So that's where I'm going to start. And again, if you want to use your own imagination when you're making your, creating your, doing this activity, you can. You could do it on the other side. You could go 1, 2, 3 over here and do your stocking that way. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom. The little digital app that has a Geoboard has lots of fun colored rubber bands. So if you can download that, you don't have a Geoboard, you can always download one. Hey, The App Store's, I'm sure, full of Geoboard activities for kids. This one is going all the way. It looks like a kind of a skinny stocking. It's kind of a skinny foot. Doesn't look like a Christmas stocking, does it? However, if I'm following the directions, I'm going to go up from the bottom one peg up. That's definitely a small, let me put it this way. I'm looking for my very teeniest rubber band. There she is, darling. There she is. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to grab a rubber band there. 1, 2, 3. Maybe. A little tricky. See how skinny that is? So you could actually, if you wanted to chub up the stocking, you could go up a peg. Again, it's your creation. So now I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going 4 up, which closes up my stocking, right? And then there's one more little design up here, you know, the fuzzy part of the stocking that has the little fur. So that's going to be second row, skip, skip, go to 3, 4, 5, and you've got your cute stocking. And again, you know, you can, the sky's the limit on creating. If you want to reverse this and flip it to the other side, if you wanted to go for a chubbier stocking, then you could do that. Let's see what that looks like. Trying to stretch that one. You could make a chubby stocking. So create on. Whoops, there goes one of my rubber bands. That's kind of fun in a way when they pop. You have to be careful. That was one of my little ones. Hopefully I can, there it is. Okay, let's go on to the, oh, Christmas tree, oh, Christmas tree. That one looks very interesting because it's going in row 1, peg 3, and then it goes down to row 4, peg 1. So now in the years past, sometimes my students will use one big rubber band and do that stretching. So you could do that too. So we're going to row 1, and then we have to go all the way down. So that one you have to think about because you're skipping a lot of pegs there. So you have to think, where am I going? And then we're going all the way across. So that one's easy, that closure. And you could definitely, ooh, yeah, that one went all the way across. And then you could, so you could definitely, if you had a really big rubber band, you could stretch it into a triangle shape. And then go to the bottom and you're just going to close up your Christmas tree. But you have to make the stump of it. You have to make the trunk of it. So you're going to the bottom, skip peg 1, go to peg 2, go to peg 2, and you're going down. Okay, and then you're going to go 1, 2, 3 pegs. This is where this counting comes in handy. It just helps you to be able to get things done quicker, more efficiently, in the right spot, and then you're not wasting your time. And then close up shop right there. How fun is that? And then you, when you're drawing this on your paper, you would just draw your details. You could draw a star. You could do Christmas lights, Christmas ornaments. That's fun. Okay. Let's do Santa's hat. That will be fun. So it looks like, again, sort of like the Christmas tree, except we're going to start at peg 3 in row 1, and then we're going all the way to the bottom. All the way to the bottom. So that's going to take a really 1, 2, 3. It's going to take a really long stretch. Let me put that on. Okay. And that one's going to be easy because you're going all the way across the bottom. The Santa hat should be fairly simple to create, but again, your mind might even get more creative when you're working on your Geoboard creations. And then I'm just going up and closing. I don't have to think about any counting because once I've got those other two in place. And we've got one more detail. Again, you know how Santa's hat has that fuzzy fur on it. This one's going to involve 1, 2, 3, row 4, skip the first peg and go in the middle, 1, 2, 3, which you've already got your design in there, so it should be pretty easy to, maybe if you can get that. Now on this Geoboard, because you can't really go out here, so you're going to have a little gap for the fuzzy trim here, but it's okay. When you draw it on the board, again, you're gonna just go ahead and close up that line and you can add your details. Last one, ho, 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 Santa's going down the chimney. That one looks like what we're gonna do is make the chimney, but you would just be drawing Santa's hat. So we're going row 1, row 2, we're going 1, 2 over, 1, 2, 3 cover. So that one's going to be pretty easy to make. It's going to be a rectangle shape. And then I'm going all the way down, 4 pegs down. And the other side is a twin, so that's easy breezy. And then you're closing the bottom. Again, it gets easier. We're working on building our visual spatial. We're going down with the rubber band, and then we're going to make this brick pattern. So in the middle, we're going all the way down completely. So we're making like a brick chimney. And then we're going to line to make those bricks, right? For our brick chimney on top of our house. And when we draw it on, that's when you would draw little details. You could color that in brick red if you wanted. You can draw in Santa's hat. That's fun too. So let's talk about now when you're putting the design on a piece of paper. We're going to do one at least together. I'm going to use a marker, but I would normally use a pencil. So let's do one that's pretty simple. I'm going to do the Santa hat because that's going to be pretty simple to model. So again, it's going to be the same on the paper. I know this first rubber band started 1, 2, 3, and it went all the way to the bottom. So when I do my line, that's where I'm going to be pretending it's a rubber band, right? And I'm going to start at that 3rd peg. I'm going to go ahead and draw it to the other peg. Because if I try to draw upside down, backwards, and around and around. So I went from here to here, okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing over there on the other side. And I know that my rubber band hit this dot, and this dot. These pegs were covered. And then I want it to be straight because my rubber band was straight across. And that is Santa's hat. Let's add the trim. Now here's where you would just go ahead, even though the rubber bands didn't go all the way across. You can go ahead and make that design. And then fill in your details. You can color this up. And it says at the bottom how many. So what you would do is you would be filling in how many rubber bands. It took us 1, 2, 3, 4 rubber bands. So you could count and you could log how many rubber bands. So that's how you do the same counting skills you use on the Geoboard, you can use on the Geoboard paper. And when you're creating Geoboard paper, you can just draw your dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can use a ruler to help you draw a straight line. And then once you've got your straight line, you can go down. You could draw your square first because this is encased in a square. And then you could fill your dots in if you're drawing your own and you want to just do some creating. All right, kids, that was really fun. We incorporated some math skills today and some Christmas fun symbols of Christmas. And this Geoboard activity is something you can do to develop your visual spatial skills and your counting skills, and it also sharpens up your creativity. You can do this with other pictures too. You can make a spider web. That is very detailed. You can make a lamp, a sailboat, an arrow. Look at all the things you can design. A butterfly, a box. You could even make something that looks three-dimensional. The sky's the limit. I love this too because it shows how you can create the alphabet. If you're working on your alphabet skills, or you have a brother or sister who's working on the alphabet skills, you could create and they could guess the alphabet letter. You could do your numbers. There's so many things. You could also just work on shapes. Rectangle, square, triangle. You could just be creating all kinds of wonderful designs. So if you're able to order a Geoboard and some rubber bands, I'm sure these are available online, definitely at school supply stores or Amazon, which frankly has about everything. Or you could definitely have your parents help you look online in the App Store, because I know there's lots of Geoboard activities that you could download and use. The one that I used with my students in the class, I had an iPad, so that's where I got it in the Apple Store, and it was totally and completely free to use and very fun. All right, kids. Remember, we're staying on the nice list. We are excited about Christmas, but we're still definitely keeping our brains active and doing lots of skill building and learning, but having fun at the same time. That's the key to all great learning. Learn, but have fun. All right, until our next time together, as always, have a good one, and don't forget to stretch your thinking and develop your brain. All right, see you real soon.